Now am organizer with the IAF, which is Industrial Areas Foundation, a broad-based community organizing network, part-time in the Northwest, and a leader in eco-faith recovery, one of the sponsors of this class. So I want to segue from the generic pressures. Enough here? Okay, just to be thinking about, yeah. To McKibben's article about the specific pressures that could come from global climate disruption. Okay, everybody read the article? We're just going to review it real quickly by the numbers. So I want to put the numbers up here and have you help me remember what the numbers mean. Behind door number 1 here. By the numbers, Bill McKibben's.
2 degrees.
2 degrees, what does that mean? 2 degrees Celsius, or what is it in Fahrenheit? 3.6 degrees, yeah. Does that make a difference?
No.
If you're in a room and it's 70 degrees and it suddenly goes up to 74, does it make a difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So.
It's an average.
It's the global average.
Global average.
It's the global average, so the global average. What are the effects of this? What happens when we reach that?
Polarized gas melting.
Don't we think that we get to the tipping point where we can no longer bring the temperatures of the Earth back to a place where it can?
We're already on the way to that. In the article, it says we're already at 0.8 degrees Celsius in terms of global warming. And one of the effects that's already happened is about a third of the Arctic ice cap is gone, right? So there's some dramatic, and even more dramatic if we reach 2. So the global scientists and leaders who were gathered in Denmark agreed that this was the place we did not want to go. So that's the place. That's where we want to draw the line in the sand, so that more pressures don't increase. Yes.
Just to clarify, it's not about the thermostat on your house going
No,
up by
it's not.
3.6 degrees. We're talking about summers in Oregon being 8 to 10 degrees more hotter. Hotter, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
More hot on average. So that some of those summer days are going to be way hotter.
Yeah. So 2 degrees Celsius. Next number. 565 what? Gigatons. And what's a gigaton?
A lot.
What? It's a lot. What?
A lot.
It's a lot.
Billion tons.
It's a billion tons. A billion tons. So 5.65. And what's this number mean according to McKibben?
The fossil fuel that's in the earth, not mined yet.
No?
It's the amount of carbon that will go into the atmosphere to bring us up to the 2 degrees.
Yes, this is the critical amount of carbon that it needs to be released. I mean, would be released if you were to warm up by 2 degrees. Okay.
No, it's the amount of carbon dioxide we can add to the air and still be under that.
Still be under,
2 degrees.
still be within the threshold. Yeah, that's the maximum amount that we could add. But presuming that the temperature is already going to go up because we've already added so much that hasn't been reflected yet.
Right.
Okay, and in 2009 we had already released 31.1 gigatons. So by that average, how many years?
16.
Yeah, he says 16. We now think it's 14.
Well, it is 14. It was 16
Yeah,
2 years ago.
Okay, it was 2 years ago again. So, okay, and then the next number. What's that number? I think you were saying it.
That's the
Yeah,
fossil
you were
fuel
saying it, yeah.
down here. Yeah.
This is the amount that is available or could be available of greenhouse gases to emit, or fossil fuels to burn. 2,795 gigatons. So
The corporations have said that they're.
corporations or countries, yes,
They've invested in that, that's part
Yeah.
of their economic future, 2 years ago.
yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. And if all this were burned, where would we be? way above 2 degrees, right? Yeah, because this is the threshold. So, what example does he use? Remember the example, the metaphor he uses?
3 12 packs and tried it out.
Yeah, okay, so I brought some beer. I hope this doesn't offend anybody. But who likes to drink Corona? Anybody? We need an earth person. Would you like to be the earth person?
Sure.
Okay, so actually this is about the total consumption of fossil fuels. So we're going to put this 6-pack here, and that represents 565 gigatons. Okay? So we've already drunk a few of those. So let's see. Okay. Don't open it. This is my beer. I'm going to take it back. This is for illustration only. Okay. It's not cold. So okay. And then how much could we add to that? According to the 2795, how many more 6-packs?
5.
5 more. Let's put that one there. And you think he's had enough yet? You got to start drinking, man. So here's some more. Okay. And here's some more.
You have health insurance?
And here's some more. So the analogy is what's the legal blood alcohol level for driving? 0.08. Yeah. So 0.08 is about where we are right now. And to add to that, this is what the fossil fuel industry wants the earth to consume. It doesn't matter where it's drunk, right? It doesn't matter if you stop drinking, if they drink more in New York City in terms of the fossil fuel emissions. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If it comes from Saudi Arabia or from Edmonton, Alberta, it's the fact that it's consumed. So what does that look like to you?
A long night.
Long night, yeah. And you think the earth could consume all of that and be sober? No. Okay. Where does the analogy break down? Talk to me about, this is a metaphor, so, or what else do you see in the metaphor? What else do you see in the metaphor besides, it doesn't really matter, where it comes from or who drinks it distribution-wise, because it's a global community problem.
Well, the situation's set up so that in order for growth to happen, this has to happen.
Yeah, this
The
all,
whole economic base is based on the idea that you need to grow, and therefore you need fossil fuels.
yeah. So there's
an incentive.
there's a push. There's really a push. I put that all on your plate there, but there's a literal push to make you want to drink it. Would that be called an addiction?
Yeah.
Although we could stop, right, as individuals, and it may or may not affect global warming, right?
Right.
Because somebody else might just pick up and drink it.
It would also,
What's that?
Especially if it's really cheap.
Yeah, especially if it's cheap. And some of that is pretty cheap, but some of it's pretty spendy there. I got some good beer. Yeah.
it would be a more accurate metaphor if every beer that you drunk had more power to make you, you know what I mean, had more of an intoxicating effect than the last one because of climate feedbacks.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there might be phases of intoxication in it, yes. What else?
What Anna's trying to say is that where the analogy is quite accurate is that when you're drinking beer, you stop.
Right,
Wherever you stop, that's it, and you start to sober up.
right.
But with climate, after you get to a certain point, you can stop, but the process keeps going because we've got beyond this point where it's self-healing.
So it's more insidious in a way than drinking.
Yeah.
Because eventually he's gonna have to stop drinking because he just can't, he'll fall asleep, right?
Yeah, he'll pass out.
Yeah,
My consciousness of how serious the whole global warming issue is I'm in astronomy. But both Venus and Mars have had their atmospheres completely, permanently transformed by a greenhouse effect. In the case of Mars, it lost tremendous amount of atmosphere that it once had because of some critical juncture, and Venus is uninhabitable because of it. It's like if all of our oceans were to evaporate with all that water pressure, you'd feel air pressure on the surface of the earth like you feel at the bottom of the ocean. And that's like it is on Venus. So I mean, it's like, cataclysmic things can happen that are unimaginable. And it happened twice right there on either side of us.
McKibben talks about the release of methane.
yes,
That's the temperature warming, so that's something that we
Right.
can't do anything about.
right.
And even if we stop today,
It could happen.
There's methane bombs going off right now.
Right.
Which is 10 times,
30 times.
30 times?
Yes,
As
more
much.
heat trapping and CO2.
Right.
So the last number, remember the last number?
14 years.
What's that number mean?
At the current rate of use, that's when we'll have used up our budget of 565 gigatons.
Right. Right. So there's a sense of urgency. We want to have a sense of urgency about what to do to curb the use of fossil fuels and the greenhouse gas that releases. And 14 years, when we come back, we're going to do some reflection at your tables about your circle of loved ones and where they will be in 14 years and what kind of pressures they will be experiencing as a result of the changes that may or may not happen. And this is part of the know now, we're into the know, the threat of global warming. We're going to talk also later in the course about how to respond to it, but we want to get real about the threat. So we have a break for 10 minutes, I